Hello there, welcome back once again. In this video, we're going to do a few more operations with scientific notation. And I'm going to start you off with this equation. 3 times 10 to the 8th power equals 5.50 times 10 to the negative 7th power divided by x. You may notice that I don't have a calculator next to me right at this moment. And the reason for that is that I recommend that you do your algebra first before you handle any calculator work. So let's go ahead and solve this equation first before I show you how to enter it in the calculator. Some people get a little confused when they have a fraction with an unknown in the denominator. I have a little trick I like to show you right now. If you have an unknown set of numbers on the left side and an unknown in the denominator, you are allowed to swap the two of them. I call this my swap trick. What's going to happen is this x and all of these numbers are going to switch positions. This works if you have a known on one side and an unknown in the denominator on the other side. Now remember, move everything on the left-hand side underneath that fraction and move the x to where the numbers used to be. If you only move part of them, the trick doesn't work that well. So now, rather than having these numbers, we'll have x on the left equals still 5.50 times 10 to the negative 7 on the numerator, and this 3 times 10 to the 8th moves into the denominator. And so this scientific notation expression is what we'll enter in our calculator. For those of you using the TI-30XIIS, we'll have to separate the numerator from the denominator once again because there's no easy way to enter fractions on this calculator. So I'll begin by placing parentheses around the numerator, parentheses around the denominator. Not 100% necessary every time, but it's good practice, so I'll go ahead and use them here. I'm going to start by entering my open parentheses, 5.50 times 10 to the negative 7. But now, instead of saying times, recall that on the TI-30XIIS, the double E option is available. So we'll hit second, uppercase E, negative 7. There's no need to say times, no need to say 10, and no need to put an exponential marker either. Now we close the parentheses, press the division key right here on the right, and begin our denominator. Again, open parentheses, 3 times 10 to the 8th. So once again, we'll use the double E in place of the times. Second, uppercase E, 8. Once again, we don't say 10 or the exponent. Close the parentheses and press enter. And our answer is 1.83, repeating, and then times 10 to the negative 15. So you could write as your answer 1.83 times 10 to the negative 15, or just 1.83 e negative 15. Either one is fine, and your instructor will definitely know what you're talking about. For those of you using the TI-30XS, we do have the advantage with this calculator of having access to the fraction function with this button N over D. We'll press it first. This gives us a box on the top for the numerator and a box on the bottom for the denominator. Let's begin by entering the numerator. You don't have to put parentheses here since we only have one term, but it won't hurt anything if you do, so I'm going to go ahead and put them. Open parentheses, 5.50, then we have times 10 to the negative 7. Now to do this on the 30XS, we press this button next to N over D, which is times 10 to the N. This inserts the times, the 10, and gives us a little box for our exponent, and we'll enter -7. Now remember, after you have finished entering an exponent, we must press the right arrow to escape the exponent. Then enter your close parentheses. This completes the numerator. Now to begin the denominator, we press the down arrow on this oval, and we begin entering our denominator. First, open parentheses, 3 times 10 to the 8th. We use the times 10 in button for scientific notation. Then we just press 8, press right to escape the exponent, close parentheses, and press enter. You can see we get the same answer as before, 1.83 repeating times 10 to the -15. You can also use the uppercase E in place of the times 10. That's perfectly fine. To do this operation with the TI-36Xpro, we begin by pressing this button that has the boxes and the fraction bar in the middle. Now we'll enter the numerator in the top box. Start by placing parentheses before the number and say 5.50. And where you see the times 10 to the -7, we're going to use the uppercase E rather than times. Now, skip over to the exponent and say -7, and close the parentheses. To move to the denominator, press the down arrow. Now we enter the denominator by pressing open parentheses here, 3. Where it says times 10 raised to the 8th, we use the uppercase E here. And now we just press 8, and then close the parentheses, and press enter. And we get 1.83 repeating E -15, exactly what we expected to. To do this operation using the TI-83plus, we're going to have to be careful because this calculator, it's a little difficult to do fractions in it. So we're going to have to start by entering an open parentheses to show that the numerator is coming. Let's now enter the numerator and say 5.50 times 10 raised to the -7, but we can just use uppercase E for this. The uppercase E is located where this comma is in the yellow text above it. To use operations in the yellow text, we hit the second key and then the uppercase E. Now we can skip straight to the exponent and say -7. Close the parentheses. Now we're finished with the numerator. To show that the denominator comes next, we press the division key. Now to enter the denominator, we begin again with an open parentheses. And we have 3 times 10 to the 8th, so we say 3, uppercase E, so we must hit second, uppercase E, and then 8. No need to say 10, and no need to put an exponential. Now close the parentheses to show that the denominator is complete, and press enter. Again, we get the same answer we expected, 1.83 times 10 to the -15. For those of you using the TI-84plus, we don't have a very convenient way to place fractions in the calculator, so we'll have to place the numerator and denominator separately. First, let's enter the numerator by placing an open parentheses to show that the numerator is coming. Then we'll type 5.50, and then we have times 10 to the -7. Rather than saying times 10, we'll just use the uppercase E, written here in blue above the comma key. To access the uppercase E, we'll hit second, and then the uppercase E. Then we can skip straight to the exponent and say -sign. Right here, make sure you don't use this negative by accident. You want the one in parentheses here at the bottom. And then close the parentheses to show that the numerator is finished. Then we enter the denominator. We press the division bar to show the denominator is coming and open a new parentheses for our denominator. Then we'll enter 3 times 10 to the 8th power So once again, rather than saying times 10, we'll use second, uppercase E, and then we skip to the exponent and say 8. Close the parentheses to show that we are finished with our denominator, and press enter. Our answer is 1.83 times 10 to the negative 15, exactly what we expect. For those of you using the TI-89, we don't have a very convenient way to handle the fractions on this calculator, so we'll have to begin by pressing open parentheses to show that the numerator is coming, and then we type 5.50, and we have times 10 to the negative 7. Rather than saying times 10, we'll press the double E key here on the left, then skip to the exponent and say negative 7. That completes our numerator, so now we'll press the close parentheses key here to show the numerator is finished. Then we press the division bar to show we have a denominator coming, open the parentheses to begin the denominator, and press 3, uppercase E, that replaces the times 10, and then simply 8. Now close the parentheses to show that we're finished, and press enter. The answer we get is 1.83 e negative 15. This is exactly what we expected to get. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you again next video.